Greetings all. Tonight we're going after a complex nebula out in the constellation of Cygnus called NGC6914. As far as I know, it doesn't have a common name. When I say complex nebula, what this is, it sits right next to the Satyr Nebula. So if you haven't seen my video on the Satyr region, the Butterfly Nebula, go and look at it. This sits right next to that, right out there next to Satyr. And in the background, if I can capture this right, in the background, you're going to see this hydrogen emission nebula that sets a real nice red backdrop. The background, it's all that gas in the Satyr region. And then between us and it, there's a whole bunch of interstellar dust that forms what some people call a dark nebula. But you'll see these dust lanes that block out the other red light. But also closer in to the nebula itself, in and around all those hot young stars that were just born in that cloud of gas, there's more dust in there that actually reflects the starlight from these bright stars, and it's going to give us a kind of blue looking reflection nebula. Now also hidden in there, there are a couple of gems that these other reflection nebula that kind of yaller orangish or yaller greenish looking reflection nebula, which I don't think I've seen one of those anywhere, but I'm not sure we're going to be able to get it. But if I can get close enough in on this and get enough details, hopefully we'll capture that yaller orange reflection nebula along with those blue reflection nebula. Now there may be a problem with this, so I want to get 18 hours on this object, and I'm only going to get about 6 hours per night. So that means I'm probably going to have to go 3, possibly 4 nights on this object to get as much exposure as I want. But the weather guessers are talking about some hurricane coming across here towards us. They even gave it a name, Hurricane Ian or something like that. But anyhow, they're saying that's going to come right on across us. So if it does, then that's going to interrupt our project, and hopefully we can pick it up on the other end. But I don't want you to worry too much about me, because even though I live in a swamp, if you look around you can see my swamp, but even though I live in a swamp, my house sits up on a hill, so I'm high and dry. I don't expect I'm going to flood, and I cut down all the trees that are close enough to my house that might fall on my house. Also, I've got plenty of water to last as long as I need it to. I've also got a supply of food stored up to last as long as I need it to. As well, I've got a hand pump on my water well. You can see here I got a hand pump on my well. So I just got to turn the valve on, pump the water right out, get as much water as I want. See how that works? So I've got an endless supply of water, and you can see I've got an endless supply of firewood too. So in my final preparation, well, not my final, but you can see I got here my trusty Power Horse 11,000 watt generator, and then that's enough to power my whole house. And I had an electrician build me a hookup, so when the power turns off, I just plug my generator into my house and I'm good to go. Just use it just like normal. And I got me a little air conditioning unit right there so I don't get too hot. And if you look over here, you can see that I've got plenty of gas to run it all. There's my welding helmet right there. But anyhow, I'm pretty much set for this hurricane. I think we're going to do just fine in this hurricane, if it comes here like they're saying it's going to, but who knows? We'll find that out together. Hey, here we are having hurricane hit. Oh boy, look at the trees. A couple of them have already went down. If you watch my videos, you'll know that that one right there blocks my view to the southeast. So I'm hoping 1 or 2 of those go down right there. Looks like it might happen. We'll see. But toughen it out the best I can. It's what I normally do whenever we have a hurricane. I sit here in a hot tub until the power goes out. That's going to be my plan on this one. And don't worry too much about me though, because I am taking some safety precautions. Whenever I keep my head on a swivel, whenever there's flying projectiles, I just duck down below the edge of the hot tub here until they go past. Now, that works most of the time. I do have a couple of extra scars for the handful of times that it didn't work.
Look what my crazy husband is doing. He's hot tubbing during a hurricane.
Well, 2 days later, the hurricane's over. We didn't take too much damage. You see, it blew my bug sprayer down. I got to put that back up. And we just have some yard debris. You can see it laying out there. Look out yonder. It filled up all the ditches around my house. So got water all out there. Water surrounding my house, but it didn't get in my house. Then look back up here at the roof, and you can see my roof didn't take much damage. I lost a few shingles, but I've already replaced them, so that's all set to go. You can see right there that my pond filled up, and it's all the way filled up, and it overflowed a little bit into that ditch out there. You see that ditch out yonder is full of water. It has moved on out. The weather's clear, and we are now ready to get going on NGC6914. Okay, here we sit out on the pool deck getting ready to go on NGC6914. All right, yonder it sits, the North Star. You can see the telescoping mount is pointed to it right out there to the north. We just got polar aligned. I showed you the North Star, my telescope looking at it. We're polar aligned, and I got stellarium turned on, and we're looking at NGC6914 here. You can see the label right here, but I put my own marker here because this is where I want the center of frame to be. And so we'll center our shots around here. Now notice that I have a rotation of 74 on the box here, and I'm trying to achieve the rotation of 74. So let me show you what that looks like in Neener. And let me show you what our night's plan going to be first. I'm going to go to this star right over here, Satyr. You see how close it is to the target we're shooting. In fact, if you watch my video on the Butterfly Nebula, this is the Butterfly Nebula right here. Satyr figures prominently in that, but here it is. So we're going to go to Satyr, do our focus and mount synchronization, and then you see from there it's just a really short hop right on over to the center of our frame for our NGC6914. So that'll be the program. So right now I'm going to go ahead and select Satyr because that's the first place we want to go. Now I've got Satyr selected. I go to the framing tab and I click this button right here. Let me go to the NASA Sky Survey. Click this button here and it's going to pull in whatever target I have selected in stellarium, in this case Satyr. So let's pull those coordinates in. See, it pulled in the coordinates. Now I'm getting this red box down here because I don't have an internet connection. My internet's not working tonight, so it can't pull the picture in. That's okay. It knows what the coordinates are and it pulled them in. So here the coordinates are. Now what I don't know, did it send it over to the sequence tab? That's what we need to go and find out. So we'll go to the sequence tab, and you see that it did pull the coordinates in. Sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't pull them in, and if it doesn't, that's okay. You just give get these coordinates from the framing page, and then you go right back over here and type them in manually here. It's not that hard to do. That's if they don't automatically transfer, which sometimes they don't when you don't have an internet connection. Anyhow, they're there. So what I've done, we want to plate solve over to Satyr, and that's what this is going to do. Slew to target, center target. That's going to plate solve us on over to Satyr. Okay, here we go. And there goes the mount over towards Satyr, just like we told it to do. Now I can tell you that it is going the right direction to point at Satyr, so that's a good sign. Alright, so the mount thinks it's pointed at Satyr. What it's going to do now, take a picture right now, and that's going to plate solve that picture to see did it get it right. And you see down here, it did not point at Satyr the first try. No matter though, it did a quick readjustment. I think this is Satyr here in the corner. It's going to take another picture to see did it get it right this time. Watch the picture. See, there's Satyr right in the middle. You can see I've been using the scope recently, so it's still focused from the last time I used it, but that's how you know it's focused, when this center, if it wasn't focused, it would be moved over out here or out here somewhere. Get it right in the middle of those X's and you're focused. Now notice that it puts the X's on these little bitty stars too. It puts it on all the stars, but you can't really see what it's showing you here. So that's why it's important that you use a big star, a big bright star, to get your focus done. So we are focused. I'm going to take the Bahtinov mask back off and we'll get our imaging plan going. I have previously built a target set for this, so I'm just going to go ahead and load the one that I built, and then I don't have to put all the sequence plan down in here. I called it NGC6914. Later on tonight, after this target sets, I'm going to switch over to the Horsehead Flame. That's why I've got two target sets in here. So let's call that up. Of course, the one we're interested in right now is this first one, NGC6914. And I want it to switch at about 4:30, so I'm going to add a few more frames to bump this up to 4:30. Notice I'm doing 5-minute exposures. We are doing luminance, red, green, blue, and then of course we're doing 10-minute exposures for the HA, because there's going to be a lot of HA signal on this target with the hydrogen gas in the background. But we're doing the broadband, the LRGB, to get the star colors and the reflection nebula, that blue reflection nebula. So here's our plan. We're going to start with, now it's going to, at 4:30, this target's going to set, and then it's going to switch over to the Horsehead and Flame and start doing that. So that's all good. So here we go. It'll plate solve, do a small correction to take out the movements that I put into it when I rotated the scope. All right, it thinks it's on target, so it's going to settle. It's going to take a picture. Here's the picture. Now it's going to plate solve it, and see, it is not in the right spot, because when I was rotating the camera, I moved the telescope a little bit. So it repositioned, settled. Now it's going to take another picture right here. It's going to plate solve that. Okay, it was in the right spot, so it's going to start the guiding sequence. It is already calibrated, so now it's taking the picture. So it's off and running. So you can see right here we're on picture 1 of 26, and this is going to go until 4:39, and then it's going to change targets. So I'm just going to let it run, and I will be back with you to take a look at our first image. Okay, let me show you what unfortunate set of circumstances has occurred. You remember we went from that beautiful guiding to all of a sudden to this mess? Let me tell you what happened. I can't believe I did this. but I rotated the camera 110 degrees after we had calibrated the auto guider. So now the auto guider is trying to make corrections, but it's 110 degrees out, so it doesn't know what to do. So that's why I'm getting this stupid bad guiding. So it's a stupid mistake. I've done it before. I'm sure I'll do it again. It's important you rotate your camera before you calibrate. If you ever rotate your camera, you need to go and recalibrate your auto guider again. If you don't, you just saw what happens. So we'll let it do its thing, let it get going, and then we'll come back and look at the first picture. Okay, I sped up time, so about 5 seconds until our first image comes in. Let's watch it come in. Our first luminance image. Here it comes. There it is. How about that? You know what that's an airplane. An airplane flew through the frame, so doggone it. Otherwise, let's take a look at it. You can see the reflection nebula right here. That's those blue reflection nebula. The stars look pretty round to me. Yeah, I think this is going to work. It's taking the second picture now. Hopefully the second picture won't have an airplane in it. But anyhow, that's our first luminance. I might take a look at the next luminance to see one without an airplane mark. And if not, I will come back and take a look at some red, green, and blue when they come in. Okay, here comes the next luminance in about 3 seconds. Let's watch it come in together. Hopefully this one doesn't have an airplane in it. Well, there it is. No airplane. And again, you can see these reflection nebula through here. Take a look at the guiding. It's right around 0.84. It's been around 0.6 up until recently. Anything under 1 is going to be good enough to give me round stars, so I'm okay with that. We'll see how the night goes. We're in the right target. Our guiding is ballparkish, so we'll see what we get the rest of the night. So here we go over to Satyr. or maybe not.